Hey everyone, this is your body code practitioner, Emmanuel Zabias, out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Just want to do a really quick video in regards to dyslexia. I know a lot of clients of mine maybe have some children or even themselves have symptoms of dyslexia. You know, the thing is, there's so many different types of treatments. There's so many different, perhaps medication that people can take and things like that. But is there a way that you can do it energetically, holistically, without having to dip into those things to make more toxins in the body or to create more toxins? And I really believe there is. Now, I've had a client recently that had a really great session that we were able to eradicate this dyslexia in literally less than 3 hours, maybe even less than an hour. And the only reason why I say that, I just want to kind of put a little preface here, is that every situation is different. Results may vary. One of the biggest issues that I've had is that people like to compare and say, oh, how come his depression went down faster? Only in 2 heart walls? And how much, why did it take me 6 heart walls or 4 heart walls? The reality is like, we have to be understanding that everyone has a different past, right? Our fingerprint, everyone has a different one. It's very unique. And our situation and your situation and someone else's situation, usually not the same, especially if you have inherited emotions. If, for example, energies that have passed down from family member to family member to you, obviously you guys are in different family trees in many ways. And so you don't really know what fell upon you through generations. You don't know what happened to you with vaccinations, don't know what happened with your abuse at home. Everyone is different. And so I wanted to kind of put someone on display here. Now, she told me that I have full permission to disclose what our session looked like. It was on September 27th, and the client's only 19 years old. Now, I'm going to refrain from telling her name, but she's a really special client, really great to work with, very bubbly, very nice. And one of the things that her mother wanted me to work on was her dyslexia. Now, that was kind of like in the beginning when we first met. However, I believe that one of the greatest things to work on first out of everything out there is working on the heart wall, which is the trauma that you receive to protect basically these energies, these trapped emotions, protecting your heart as you're receiving trauma, whether it's like physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, moving, bullying, divorce, experiencing death. I mean, there's so many different reasons why these trapped emotions, these energies, are being placed over your heart so your heart doesn't collapse because of broken heart syndrome. And so what I want to talk about is, technically with this client, it was post heart wall. Okay, so this is kind of like a little disclaimer here. So I worked on her heart wall first, and then we worked on something else in regards to like suicidal tendencies, things like that. That was second. And then we worked on dyslexia third. So this is kind of like, so technically I have worked with her perhaps maybe 3 to 4 hours, but technically we only used about 30 minutes to work with dyslexia, and these were the results from it. So could it be from the combination of setting up some groundwork before? Sure. Did the heart wall maybe help her in dyslexia? Most definitely. Her wanting to live and be present on this earth, did this help out to increase her frequency and help her in this movement? For sure. So, but specifically working on dyslexia, we did take 1 session, and the results were amazing. And she said, yeah, go ahead and share it. She wants to, in fact, share it on her social media. And so, so obviously I wanted to make a video for her, and thank you so much for allowing me to share this. So real quick, if you have a pen with you, these are the things that I removed. There was basically 6 trapped emotions. Number 1 was self-abuse, nervousness, confusion, indecisiveness, lost, and frustration. So these are all trapped emotions, energies that were stuck in her body. Basically a moment where she felt these emotions very strongly, and they didn't process properly. These trapped emotions that are created from your organs, your liver, your gallbladder, these frequencies that it's creating, you feel these emotions through the body. You're supposed to process normally, but unfortunately some of them can get stuck near the organ or different areas. Now, did I ask, when did this self-abuse happen or this nervousness happen? The answer is no. Why? Because I was trying to get through as much work as I can. And so one of the things is I said, do you have any trapped emotions contributing to the symptoms of dyslexia? So the body knows what that means. And but one of the major things that Dr. Brad talks about is that sometimes you don't need to have this crazy word like autistic sort of like these five or six long words that someone made up back in 1984, 1943. Usually to a body code practitioner, all you really need to do is say, these are his symptoms, okay? But you can say in the beginning, like, you know what? There's some form of autism, but these are the 3 symptoms, you know, bloating or slow cognitive, whatever. Just tell me the symptoms, and then you can literally go one by one. Or you can say, are there any trapped emotions that are contributing to autism? Are there any trapped emotions contributing to dyslexia? Or are there any trapped emotions contributing to blank? Whatever it is, stomach problems, IBS, Crohn's disease symptoms, anything you want. You can always ask that simple question is, are there any symptoms or are there any trapped emotions contributing to blank? And then put it in there. And then and the body says yes. Then you go through the emotion code chart. Column A, column B, is it even, is it odd? And then we found self-abuse. Now I asked, do we need to know more about the self-abuse? And the body said no. So I was like, all right, great. So I was muscle testing her from a distance, and the body said no. So I said, okay, let's just release it. So, you could use a magnet, and I used it on myself because I was energetically connected to her. But I don't need to use a magnet because my fellow body code practitioner friend said, go ahead and use your hands. So I used my hands, and I just released it. And then I said, okay, what's another trapped emotion? So another trapped emotion contributing to dyslexia. Body said yes. I was like, nervousness. Okay, great. So I just released nervousness. Do we need to know the age of it? Body was like, no. So we just kept going and releasing all these different things. She started feeling calmer, more relaxed, right? Then I said, what else? Is there any other? I said, are there any other trapped emotions? The body said. The body said no. So I said, is there anything in the body code chart? There's a body code system that we need to release or clear to help these symptoms of dyslexia. Guess what we found out? There is a spirit to physical disconnection. So spirit and physical disconnection, which means obviously there's the spirit is consistently communicating with the body, and the body is communicating to the spirit back and forth. Now this one was specifically physical body from the spirit. There was a disconnection, right? Sometimes it's the spirit from the physical body from the physical spirit. So there's kind of like 2 ways it goes through. This one was physical body from the spirit. Then I asked, is there a specific organ that where there's a spirit body, then there's the physical body? And I kept looking at, like, is it below the belt? No. Is it is it the torso area? No. Is it the neck? No. Is it the head? Yes. Okay. Was it the brain? Yes. Okay. So there was a spirit to physical things. Now I asked, how well connected is the physical body from the spirit? Like, where is the connection at? And I muscle tested it, and I can say, is it 100%? No. Less than 100, 90, 80. They went down to 58%. So then I said, okay, so look, now our goal is to go from 58% to 100%. So the spiritual side of the brain and the physical side of the brain are communicating perfectly. So the first thing I found is I went through the body code chart asking, right side, right side, just kind of going through these charts that Dr. Brad created, and I found a physical trauma at 6 years old. And I said, is this something emotional or is this something physical? And he said, no, it was a physical trauma, means either like a punch or a fall or something like that, or it could be just a very stressful time. And for her, it was actually physical. And she was abused at 6, so she had a mom where there was some abuse at 6, and so we released that, and then it went up to 68%. And then I found a curse. You might think curses don't exist. Well, all types of like voodoo, curses, all that stuff. It's just people manipulating energy. Now, energy healing isn't bad, but it's the person behind it. Good healing, or the good person, good healing. Bad person, bad. Bad energy that you're sending to people. And so someone had a curse to stop her healing progress, right? And that was around 9 years old. And so that could have been an entity, that could have been a person, who knows? But that was around 9. I found that one. And then also there was then it was at 76%. So now we said there was will to die energies. What does that mean? It means she's being very, very hard on herself. Around 5 years old, and she wanted to leave this world. She was going through some physical abuse, kind of emotional abuse from that time. She kind of had a very tough childhood. Let's just say that, like very abusive, emotional, physical childhood. And so she had will to die, like, get me out of here, like I'm beating myself up, why am I still here? She had 5 of those. It went from 76% to 87%. Then there was a no will to live energy. No will to live is very similar to will to die, but it's that energy of, like, I feel so overwhelmed, get me out of this world. Like, I'm so, like give me a ticket out of this world, like, doesn't want to be here. Causes a lot of suicidal thoughts and depression. She had 6 of those. Then it went to 97%. And then I found this thing called the miasm. Now, miasm is really interesting. Miasm is it's an energy that was created from someone way back in the generational line that was suffering through some type of illness or disease. So imagine, like, let's say 17 generations up there in her family. It went from her mom to her father to her mom to her father, all the way up to 17 generations. Somebody up there was dealing with a disease and trying to fight off this disease. And all of a sudden, because of this suppression of this illness, this little energy gets formed in that person's body and it gets passed down. Now, that doesn't mean the illness gets passed down, but this energy of someone fighting, like having a battle with illness, gets passed down from family member to family member. And that creates an imbalance in the body, mind, and spirit. And guess who received it? This client did. And she had it, and that was, it went from mother, father, mother, all the way 17 generations. I found that, and then I released it, and then it went to 100%. I also found that there was a cerebellum imbalance. The stress, I was just muscle testing around, found like, there's more imbalances. Stress, cerebellum imbalance, because of the stress hormones, there was some cortisol, extra cortisol going on there. There was some vaccination toxicity, which I released, and some lead that came from the vaccination as well. And the last thing the body was saying, like, please give her a liver gallbladder flush. So her body wanted the detox, And so I recommended to her, I said, you need to do a liver gallbladder flush. And so that's basically it. And then what's interesting is that she hasn't even done the liver gallbladder flush yet, but she already that day started, she said, you know what, I'm going to try to read a book, see what happens. And she actually, for the first time ever in 19 years, was able to read. And even in small print, she showed me on video, she said, look at the small print. She said, I could read it perfectly. And I said, no, that's probably just the fluke, And so then the next day, she read again. And the same thing, she could read everything perfectly, no mistakes, 0 mistakes. Then the third time she picked it up again, she read it, and she said she was very, very tired, very, very exhausted. And she went back there, and she's like, even tired, I read that perfectly with small print. And so her life is forever changed. I'm really grateful that I got to witness that in front of me. But really, anything, Dr. Brad is right. Everything that's wrong with your life, even health-wise, is just some type of energetic misalignment. But most of it are stemmed from trapped emotions. We're emotional, energetic beings, and there's something behind that. For example, fibromyalgia, we've had a lot of success with our practice with fibromyalgia. Usually it has to do, I remember last time it was a spirit to physical disconnect when someone, a mother stole the baby of her daughter, and that trauma, guess when the fibromyalgia started? The same exact time post her mother trying to kidnap her daughter. Coincidence? I don't think so. In fact, everything from the root of fibromyalgia, the root words of it mean, it's like pain from family. So it shows that everything that you're dealing with right now, symptomatic-wise, there's some type of emotional baggage attached to it. And if we release enough of those, and perhaps some toxicities or different things, your symptoms start going away. So hopefully you were inspired by this. I just wanted to share with you. She gave me full permission to read the session on September 27th that we did for dyslexia. Could it be a different situation with your daughter or your son? For sure. But at least you know that there's a system out there called the body code system that is out there that can find the imbalances using muscle testing from a distance, using a magnet on the governing meridian, which I just use my hand, but you can use a magnet. You can either do it on your own son or daughter, or you can hire a practitioner like myself, and I can reach them from a distance. As long as they're 18 years old or younger, I can work with them energetically, and they can experience it. If they're in school, if they're in a different country, that's beautiful about this work, is they can experience this type of healing. So again, please do me a favor. I know dyslexia is a really big deal, and a lot of parents would love either their children to experience it. If you know someone that's dealing with it as an adult or as a child, just let them know there's hope in the body code. So this is just one example of the many people that I've worked with that there's symptoms that people have been dealing with for 10, 15 years. They have no hope at all. There is hope in the body code. And so again, I always end my videos like this is that, the world has this false notion where, I'll take care of you if you take care of me. But if we just take care of ourselves, then we can authentically take care of others. And as we take care of ourselves, we can change our home, we can change our city, we can change our country, we can change the world. So with that, like I said, please tag and share someone. I know someone needs to hear this message. If we can send this out to 50, 60, 100 shares, just think about it. How many dyslexic children this year will be like, you know what? Like, I've been able to read again, and I've been able to keep up with my peer group I mean, imagine how much that will do for their self-esteem, you know? So just share this on your wall, share this with your friends, tag friends, just get the word out there that there's only about 4,000 to 5,000 practitioners in the world that do this work, and you're hearing it for some reason right now. And so let's go bless some people out there. Again, this is Emmanuel from Las Vegas. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you gained some value. Feel free to comment below your thoughts on this, and look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.